There's a part of the Christmas story we don't really talk about, and it has nothing to do with carols, decorations, or a peaceful manger. None of that. Let's sit with Matthew chapter 2 for a moment, not in a churchy way, but in a real life way. This part of the story isn't romantic and it's not soft. It's about purpose under pressure. All right? Not every season of your life is meant to be loud. Not every move needs to be announced. And not every chapter needs an audience. Some of the most important shifts you will ever make will happen quietly. The Bible tells us the wise men followed a star. Now, many people have debated about the theology, the science, the symbolism, but let's bring this home. The star represents direction, calling, a sense that your life matters. And you have that too. You might not call it a calling. Maybe you call it a dream, a pull, a knowing, a restlessness that won't let you settle for survival. And this is the part that a lot of us are not prepared for. The moment your star starts shining, even just a little, someone notices it. Now, enter Herod. Herod wasn't curious. Herod was threatened at the birth of Jesus. He didn't ask about Jesus because he wanted to honor Jesus. He asked because his growth threatened his insecure systems. Your healing disrupts fragile power. Your clarity exposes dysfunction. And the danger isn't always obvious at first, because sometimes it would come across as interest, a concern, as support. Herod asked questions long before he showed his rage. And that's real life, isn't it? Not everyone asking about your plan is rooting for you. And here is the part that really gets me. The wise men sensed something wasn't right, and they did not confront Herod. They didn't explain themselves. They didn't send a long text message. They simply went another way. They outtweeted Herod. No drama, no speech, no need to clear the air. They just trusted their discernment. Some of the tension you've been feeling lately, that feeling that something is off, the weird energy, the distance that suddenly feels necessary. It's not because you're cold. It's not because you are insensitive. It's because you're learning discernment. And when Herod realized he's lost control, he reacted violently. He killed all the children within the age group of Jesus. And that matters because not everyone that shows their true intentions when things are calm. Some people only reveal who they really are when they realize they can't control you anymore, when they realize you've outwitted them. Now, let's talk about Joseph. I honestly think that Joseph doesn't get enough credit. Right. So, Joseph, God speaks to him in a dream and says, "Get up, take the child, leave." No explanation, no timeline, just urgency. And Joseph just obeys. He just moves. He moves quietly. He moves at night without an announcement. He doesn't post an update on Instagram. He doesn't gather opinions. He doesn't overthink. He protects what God has entrusted to him. Some of you are in seasons like that right now. Not because you're hiding, not because you are not wanting to engage, but because you're protecting your nervous system. You're protecting your faith, your future, and you don't owe anyone access. You don't owe every environment your energy, and you definitely don't owe toxic spaces an explanation for your silence and for your growth. Now, if the Prince of Peace, Jesus, had to be hidden to survive, why are you forcing yourself to stay visible in spaces that drain you, in spaces that don't feel safe for you? Some seasons require a ghost era. Not disappearing, but recalibrating, you're healing, you're strengthening, you're listening. And Joseph teaches us something really powerful. And I love the role that Joseph played in the life of Jesus. You see, leadership isn't loud, wisdom isn't reactive. The protection that we often need looks like obedience under understanding. Joseph knew how God spoke to him and he trusted it. He wasn't controlling. The big question I want to ask you is, do you recognize God's voice in your life? And are you aware that sometimes everything can be so noisy that you can't hear your intuition anymore? Because the world is loud, social media is loud, opinions are loud, but God often speaks in whispers. And this is what I want you to remember. Christmas isn't just about birth, Jesus' birth, Merry Christmas. There is a deeper story. It's about preserving purpose. Your calling is worth the quiet season. It's worth the unseen work. It's worth the boundaries. So be encouraged. When you are listening, you're not behind, you're not missing out, you're being protected actually. Trust the timing, trust the silence, trust God's leading, even when it doesn't make sense. Because sometimes the most powerful move you can make is the one no one sees. Some of the biggest shifts in your life won't come with an announcement. There'll be no warning, no applause, just a quiet knowing that it's time to move silently. And if you've been feeling that pull to disappear, to research, or protect your peace, this is not you being avoidant. It might actually be wisdom and discernment for you. And this is the part of the Christmas story we don't get to talk about often. Joseph played a really crucial and strategic role in the life of Jesus. He covered him. He was that protection for his family. And we need so much of that in parenting leadership today, either as a father figure or as a mother figure, to be able to hear from God, how to protect your family, where to visit and where not to visit during these holidays, very important. And you really want to ask yourself, do you have to make those trips? Do you have to be in those events? Listen to that internal nudgings. And I hope that you stay safe during these holidays. Merry Christmas and have a wonderful New Year ahead.